Hi, I'm Danny from the blog and YouTube channel Contentment with Simplicity, and welcome back to my channel. This is where I hit record on my phone. I'm not a super polished YouTuber. That's not my goal with this channel. My goal is to be like a real person showing up and hopefully helping you feel like you're a part of a community of some kind. So I hit record on my phone and I talk about something related to parenting or some aspect of my particular parenting life. So today we're going to be talking about having kids share a bedroom. So for context, we have 4 children. Their ages are 7, 5, 2 and 3/4, almost 3, and then a 1-year-old, or will be 1 by the time this video goes live. So we live in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath cottage, rurally in New Zealand. It's 650 square feet, which I know sounds pretty small compared to many North American standards. Not all. I know some people live in like big cities and a 650 square foot apartment would be large. But where I'm from in Washington, it would be pretty small. But we love it. It works great for us, where our climate is quite friendly for indoor outdoor life. We have a big deck. Like I said, we live rurally. Our kids can play outside a lot. And so it works well for us. But we do have all 4 of our children in one shared bedroom. So I'm going to talk about 13 different things that I think really help support that working relatively successily in our home. I am going to be honest and say that it doesn't always feel successful. Especially like my 5-year-old and my 7-year-old, they're easy peasy in a shared room at this point. The almost 3-year-old is still getting the hang of it. And then we've actually just probably in the last like 3 or 4 months moved the baby in with the older kids. And so, yeah, sometimes everybody is keeping each other awake at night and sometimes everybody's waking each other up in the morning. So there are challenging moments, but overall, I would say that this does work quite well for our family. And here's how I think it happens. So I've got my list of 13 things. Feel free to take notes if you want, or I'll try to list them below in the not the comments, the description. Okay, so number 1 is that everybody has their own bed. And I do think that helps because it means that everybody has a little bit of kind of their own personal space. When you share a room, the floor space is shared space, it's common space, but the beds are each person's own. So each person gets to decide who comes onto their bed. So sometimes my oldest, who's more of an introvert, really just wants to kind of hole up by herself on her bed, and she does not want her 5-year-old sister or her 3-year-old brother climbing onto her bed with her. And that's okay. I say it's your bed, you get to make that jurisdiction decision. So each person, wherever you sleep, you get to decide who else comes on that bed. So each person has their own bed. We have bunk beds where our 2 girls are on bunk beds, and then our son has like a mattress, like a crib mattress on the floor, and then that's our almost 3-year-old, and then our baby has like a porta cot that he sleeps in. Twice a day, so number 2 that I think helps this work is twice a day we do a general tidy up in the room. So in the morning, during our morning chores, before, after breakfast, we do a cleanup in the room. The kids make their beds. I'm kind of a stickler for making your bed. We make it really easy, but they do need to at least attempt to make their beds. And we clean up all the toys, we clean up all the clothes that have been changed out of or whatever, and it gets kind of reset to nice. And then we do that again at nighttime. Obviously they don't usually make their beds again at night, but we just do kind of a reset, put all the toys away, put books away, that sort of thing. So I really think that helps to instill like a respect for the other people and their experience of being in a shared space. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of college, university students, adults even, that could probably benefit from some of those lessons. So I do think it's a really valuable life lesson for kids to learn. Number 3, we try to provide an element of privacy for each child, or I guess a better way to put it is like a bit of a visual barrier. So the kids on the bunk beds, my oldest, we have like a string hanging from the ceiling that she has little curtains. It doesn't go all the way around her bed, but it goes around like the head part of her bed, and just gives her a space to kind of go in and have a cozy little spot that visually you can't really see her unless you intentionally go and look around the corner. So, and then the same thing for my daughter on the bottom bunk. We just have like a king size flat sheet that is folded over the top of the, like underneath of the mattress of the top bunk. So it gives her that kind of cozy, curtained sort of feel. And then my son, he sometimes sets up his own little blanket, or the girls help him. He's the one that doesn't have an actual like visual barrier, but his head of his bed is kind of inside the closet. And so he can opt to open and close the closet doors to give himself a bit more of that cozy feel. And then our baby, we use these giant like fort making kind of like clothespins sort of things, and I have blankets on the ends of his bed. Obviously I want it to have plenty of ventilation and stuff, but I do think it helps for him to not be able to see his toddler brother just across the room. And then because of how the girls' bed is set up, he can't see the girls when they're inside their bed either. So it just means that everybody, once they're in their bed, they can't actually see their siblings, which really helps when they're all wired at night. It gives them a little bit of a chance to kind of decompress. Number 4, we have invested in, and they're not a big investment, but we've gotten our kids book lights, like rechargeable book lights, that I guess my 2 oldest, my girls, have them because they like to look at books or read books, and I want to encourage that. And so inside their little curtained area, they're free to look at books at nighttime or in the morning if they wake up before their siblings, and they can kind of have their little book reading cozy time. And I think that that really helps give them something that's quiet to do, that helps kind of support the shared bedroom working. We also, so this is number 5, we have a baby gate on the door of the bedroom. And this means, because we actually keep a lot of our kids' toys inside the bedroom, this means that the kids can play inside the bedroom. The older kids can play and build magnetiles or Duplo, and we can isolate the baby and keep him out in the common area. And that is important because with different ages, it can feel like, you know, for your older kids, that they have to just accept and live with like the level of maturity or smashing things or whatever that a baby has. And I want my older kids to be able to have a place to express their creativity and have fun and play and not have to worry about the baby getting into stuff. And so when it's out in the common area in our living room, I usually am telling them, like, you can't have small doll shoes and you can't have stuff like that. But in the bedroom, the baby doesn't usually play in the bedroom. All of his toys are actually out in the living room. And so we kind of keep him out in the living room, and then the older kids can play better in the bedroom. So the baby gate means that we can keep the door open and they don't have to feel like isolated, and I can kind of keep an ear on how things are going in there, but they don't have to worry about the baby coming in and destroying their creations. Okay, number 6, and this is probably just living small, also just having as many kids as we have. We're not like strict minimalists, but we don't have a ton of clothes and toys and things like that. So we try to keep to like more open-ended toys, like magnetiles, Duplo, like farm animals, dolls, things like that are not a really specific way of playing with them, but more can be picked up, moved, taken from place to place, and set up and played with wherever they happen to be. And then we have like a 2-basket system for each child to keep their underwear, their socks, and their shirts and their pants in. And then we also, my girls hang dresses. They have some dresses that they hang in the closet, and we have like our sweatshirts and like puffer jackets and stuff like that in a different spot. But in their kind of everyday wear, they have 2 different baskets, and we just have kind of a system where that's the amount of space that they have. So that's, if their clothes start to overflow that space, we either need to work on the system of keeping things organized so that it can all stay put, or we need to downsize. And so we kind of respect those space parameters. And the kids all kind of know the system of how to put their clothes away and where they go. So let's see, what is this? Number 7, I think. This kind of rolls over from the next thing. So again, we respect space confinements. So we have a box that the kids each child has like a little box for their shoes, and if their shoes don't fit, then like if their shoes don't fit inside that box, then we need to downsize some shoes. We have bin that has everybody's sweatshirts in it. And if we get to have more sweatshirts than what will fit in there, then we go through them and we lay them out and make sure that we've got like an even number of sweatshirts for everybody. And whoever has like 2 or 3 extra sweatshirts because they've been given them from hand-me-downs or whatever, they are confined to that space. So we'll kind of weed out some extras. So everything just kind of has to fit in the space that we have. And if it starts to not fit, that's when we know we got to downsize. So we don't have like a set number. We just have a set space confinement. Okay, so number 8, I try to allow each of my kids to have some level of say in what their bed looks like and what their like what hangs right around their bed, what their decor looks like. This is within parameters. So it's not like I take my kids to the department store and say like, pick out whatever, sheet set you want. I usually give them a couple of options within a few that I'm happy with. And the same with like blankets and pillowcases and stuff like that. So they get the feeling of like having a space that they like, that's more customized to what they want, but it's not really clashy or something that like if one child doesn't like it, then I'm like, okay, we need to respect that this is a shared space and it's shared visual space. So we're not going to have one child take up all of the wall space with their paintings and artwork. Like we respect that it's a shared space and we all have to come to consensus kind of together. And I like to put parameters around it because maybe I'm just like picky about this, but I don't really want a room that's like visually overstimulating for me or for them. I don't think that contributes to like the nervous system regulation of our home. Okay, so let's see, what's this? Number 9, I think. This is just a simple practical thing. I don't know that it's necessarily so much the shared room, although maybe it does help with that, but we don't use top sheets. So I use a fitted bottom sheet and then each child has like a duvet or comforter or blanket or something like that. But we don't deal with top sheets because I have my kids make their own beds. And so it just makes it easier. We don't have people getting frustrated. It makes it easier for changing the beds. It's just an easier system. And all of their duvets or their comforters are washable. So I can throw them in the wash and just wash everything, throw them in the dryer, dry everything. And I don't have to worry about like really high maintenance, like sheets and bedding and stuff. My kids, I don't necessarily make them like put the comforter over their bed. Actually, what most of the time they do is they have their fitted sheet and then they fold their blankets. They work together to fold their blankets and then they leave their blankets folded on the end of their bed. And that's how we make our beds every day. And that works great for us. It allows their beds to kind of air out and they're able to do it on their own and it makes their room look neat and tidy and they're really proud of themselves when they do that. So yeah, that's kind of how we make it work. Also along those lines, we have tried to, this was an idea from one of my friends, that she came up with this system, or maybe she heard about it, but how you can really quickly and easily change your kids' beds, because inevitably you do have an accident in the night or somebody vomits or something like that. And so we have everybody's bed made up with a mattress protector, a waterproof mattress protector, and then a sheet, and then a second mattress protector and a second fitted sheet on top of that. So in the middle of the night, if somebody has a pee accident, all you got to do is pull the top like sheet and mattress protector off. Bed's already made underneath of that for the child to climb back into bed. And you don't have to like turn the lights on and shuffle around and wake everybody up in the house. You can do that in the room. You can do that relatively quickly in a short amount of time and in the dark. And so that works pretty well for us. Number 11 is, this is just my personal system, but again, I think it contributes to the success of a shared bedroom, which is that I label things in their closets. So I have a bin that has, fitted sheets. I have a bin that has mattress protectors. I have a bin that has, toddler bed sheets. I have a bin that has porta-cot sheets. Actually, the toddler bed and the porta-cot, they use the same ones. But I just try to make things really clear so that my husband can join me in all of this. Because I do think sometimes if you are a mom and your kids have a shared room, you're the one that's keeping track of everything if you don't have a good system for how to have somebody else come in and help you with that system. So I've tried to think through like, how would I set up my house if this was like an Airbnb house and I had a guest in the home? Like what would they need to know? Like what would they need to be able to see to find what they need to find? And then I put that, and then now my husband doesn't have to ask me, where are the kids' sheets? Where are the pillowcases? Where are the extra pillows? You know, somebody had an accident in the night and everything is soaked and we got to start a laundry load, so I've got to remake this bed. It's all labeled, and then he can jump right in and do all of that, or I can do it. It's just a shared thing, and I think that helps with just kind of the functionality of having a bunch of kids in one room together. Okay, number 12 here. This is a absolute must. I should have put this at the beginning of the list, but we have a sound machine and we run that sound machine on a timer. So it comes on at a certain time every night, it goes off at a certain time every morning, and we have coached our kids and skidded it out for our kids and encouraged our kids and reminded our kids, and most of the time it sticks. For some of the younger ones, we're still working on it, and I'm sure we'll need to kind of start all over with the baby. But when the sound machine is going, it's quiet. We keep the room quiet so that if anybody is sleeping, then they can rest and we can respect their rest. So in the morning, if you wake up and the sound machine is going, even if you look over and you see a sibling poking their head out of their curtain or whatever, it's still quiet time. We're leaving it quiet so that the room can be a restful place for everybody in the room. So the sound machine is really, really helpful. And it also just helps kind of muffle some of the noises outside the room or inside the room, or if we have to sneak in and get something during nap time, it just means that, you know, whoever's napping in there can nap better. And then lastly, the last thing we do is every night before the kids go to bed, we usually set them up with some sort of a quiet activity right next to their bed that they're welcome to do in the morning. And so they will have some books or have, like my son, my 3-year-old loves to have Hot Wheel cars right by his bed. And it just means that they can play with them at night as we're getting the baby ready, or as, you know, the door's still open, but we're kind of coming in and out and putting the laundry away or whatever. And in the morning, if they wake up before the sound machine goes off, they have a quiet activity to do to keep them busy. So those are the 13 ways that I think, as much as I can think of, I think that helps our home function with a shared bedroom. I don't know if you can hear, but the baby has woken up from his nap and he is fussing. So I'm gonna go get him, but I hope that was helpful for you. If you have any questions or if you wanna know more about something, feel free to drop me a comment. I read them and I would love to respond and clarify anything. And if you've got kids sharing a room, if you're in that transition now, it can be a rough transition. It can feel like they're never gonna get to sleep at night, or somebody starts crying and then like the toddler is shushing the crying baby and then the baby's escalating. That happens in our home too. It is frustrating. It does get better. It used to happen with my 7-year-old and my 5-year-old. They don't do that anymore. Now it's happening with my 3-year-old and my 1-year-old. But it is getting better, and just trust the process, hang in there. I really do believe that kids benefit from sharing a room. It's actually a really strong value of mine, and even if we had a house that had a bedroom available for every child, I would not give my children their own individual rooms. I just think that it's not healthy to have that much space and that much independence. It's better to learn the character values of sharing a room and sharing space with somebody. It doesn't mean I'll keep all 4 of my kids in the same room for the rest of their lives. That's sort of just a circumstance of our home right now. But yeah, that's kind of a value of mine. And so I'm going to stick to it and figure out ways to make it work. And I wish you the best in your child room sharing journey. Thanks for being here. Have a great day.